to see you.
Good to see you.
Dr. Kayanne Awofeso. Did I say that right?
Yeah, KN.
Kayanne. So it looks like it says.
You can say
All right,
K.
we are
You can just say, you can call me K. It's fine.
okay.
Or
Okay,
Dr.
that
K.
works. That works.
Yeah, Dr. K is
So
good.
we're live. Happy Saturday. Thank you for joining us this morning. Ooh, if your week has been weeking, go ahead, drop week in the comments. WEEK. It's been a week, but we're here, and so we're thankful. And I want to appreciate you for joining me live again on a Saturday. And today we're talking about how can food help us feel better, peri, pre, post, all the things. Essentially, as a woman, how we can eat our way to better health. If you are watching live, hashtag live. If you're watching replay, hashtag replay. But through all the seasons in life as women, we need our strength. Do we agree? To
Yes.
do all the things and to be all the things. And so we're having conversations today on ways to eat our way to feeling better. And I have none other than with me, Dr. Pay,
K, yeah, K.
Kayanne Awofeso, who is a naturopathic doctor. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yes. And we'll be having this conversation today. So, Doc, for the sake of our viewers, could you introduce yourself? Who are you? What you do? And why you do what you do?
Well, so again, Dr. Tulu, well, thank you so much for having me on your platform. I'm honored to be a part of this. What you're doing, you're so consistent every week. You're just doing this. And for me, you already said my name, Dr. Kayanne Awofeso. So I'm a naturopathic doctor, and what I do, I help men and women overcome their health issues naturally using food. And how I got into this is that actually back in 2001, my dad was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and the doctors gave up on him, and they couldn't help him anymore. So what he did, he met a naturopathic doctor. At this time, I did not know what that was, and who helped him to live a longer life, change his diet, change his lifestyle, and he lived an extra 11 years. And by God's grace, with prayer and a combination of changing his diet and all that, he lived an extra 11 years. He's no longer alive now, but actually when he passed, there was no sign of cancer in his body. So that's a testament to show basically what the power of food and lifestyle changes. So because of that, seeing how he was helped, I looked into it. I said, oh, what is this naturopathic doctor? Because I was actually thinking about going to medical school at the time. So looked into it, and here I am today, about 13 years later.
Wow. And I like how, your bio talks about how you use herbs, use remedies, and simple lifestyle changes to empower your clients. And I'll be honest with you, I am thankful for medications. Don't get me wrong, medications are a gift, but we cannot go away from the lifestyle piece and using the natural foods that God has given us to help us live well. So we're going to dive in. For those who are watching, please, bring your friends, tag them in the comments, send them to them so they can join. We're going to be giving questions live. So as we go through, please drop your questions in the comment area. All right. So Dr. K, when we talk about food as medicine, when it comes to women and going through life as busy moms, as even if you don't, you're not a mom, but you're doing the things, you're being the things, you're a teacher, you're an advocate in your sphere of influence. When we talk about food as medicine, what does that mean? Someone's like, what do you mean food is medicine? Could you explain that some?
Yeah, well, food actually is just like, taking an Advil, right? When you have a headache, most people will go to an Advil or go to Tylenol or Motrin, right? But we can actually turn to food, for, has our medicine. So I usually also like to use food as like a lifestyle, right? This becomes a lifestyle. So when you go to foods, you think of food like, okay, the benefits, what is it? If I'm eating this thing, like, okay, if I'm eating pomegranates, for instance, right? When you know the benefits and the nutritional value of pomegranates, then you would want to eat pomegranates more, right? So pomegranates good for circulation, for heart health, all that, right? And for the sake of the topic of our conversation, for like women with hormones, cruciferous vegetables are very important for us as women, right? Because of like the cabbage and the broccoli, because guess what? That helps with hormone imbalance. It helps our liver process out extra estrogen out of the out of our bodies, right? So when you think of food as medicine, food carries so much nutrition and so much value to our bodies that helps our body to function on a day-to-day basis. So that's how I would define food as medicine.
All right, Doc, you said cruciferous vegetables. Can you explain, can you break it down, bring it down? Yeah, what you mean by
So
that?
cruciferous vegetables are vegetables in that family, like cabbage, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, kale. Those are in that category. And cruciferous are pretty much vegetables that help our liver to break down things like estrogen. Extra estrogen our body doesn't need. It also helps process toxins out of our liver. It helps support a lot of other different things, even compounds that can lead to cancers, right? you know um our bodies can help process that out. So that's cruciferous vegetables. So for you who like your broccolis and your cabbages, you're doing a great thing, but we don't want to be boiling them, right? We want to do like a lightly steamed, or but at the same time too, it's a case by case scenario too, because someone who may have a thyroid issue should not be doing cruciferous vegetables, right? Because it can be what they call goitrogenic, which can cause goiter of the thyroid if you do too much raw cruciferous vegetables.
Too much raw. Okay, all right, all
Hmm.
right.
Yeah.
Doc, so I wanted you to explain this so that we can know what it is and so we can do more of it. And because it's good for you, and so we're encouraging you to know what the vegetables are and to eat them. Now, Doc, someone was watching was like, yeah, when I eat them, I heard this before. I've come with Dr. O's shows, and I know eating fruits and vegetables, so I started eating a lot of vegetables, and I got very gassy. It was not a good feeling. I felt bloated, so I was like, nope. I'm an exception. So they thought they were an exception. So what would you say to that one who's watching was like, yeah, that's gas, and it was embarrassing my
Well, that's where you lightly steam them. If it makes you really gassy, lightly steam them, and also you can take like a digestive enzyme, because also that's a whole other thing too. What's your gut health like, right? If you're not digesting well, then can tell you a lot about your gut, and which can affect our hormones, right? So if we don't have a balanced digestive system, that can the gassiness can be telling you something. Hey, I'm not digesting this foods well. So if you're staying away from cruciferous vegetables because of that, you want to look a little deeper and find out what's going on in your digestion.
right. Thank you very much. And that's a good competition to have with your clinician who take care of your provider. Um, yeah. So are there everyday foods that let's talk, when it comes to hormones, and I want to go more towards like the hot flashes and mood swings or the brain fog. Are there everyday foods that we may not know that actually may be making them worse? Like, what would you say to someone who's like, well, I don't know, I eat the things I've always eaten since I was a kid. Are there everyday foods that you think is secretly spoiling hot flashes, mood swings, brain fog, some of the things that make menopause tough?
Actually, yes. So there are foods like processed foods, high, refined sugary foods, fast foods. So these foods, what they do, they can actually create an insulin resistance. So what that means is that your body don't process sugar well, right? It doesn't process that, just for layman terms, it doesn't process the sugar well. So what happens is that these foods that you're eating, like your breads and your refined sugars and your fast foods and processed foods, when they create this imbalance of insulin in the body, this can lead to mood swings, irritability, those type of things. So if you're eating your everyday foods, like, oh, let me have this, croissant, or let me have this bagel, then egg sandwich, or things like that. Even coffee is an everyday food. Some people drink coffee every day like that. They have to start their day with that, not knowing that they could be making their mood swings worse, their anxiety worse, because caffeine is a stimulant, right? Coffee is a stimulant because of the caffeine. So those are some everyday foods that should look for alternatives, like maybe a green tea, instead of a coffee, right? Should be a good alternative to switch to if they're looking for that taste. There are teas out there that replicates coffee, but it's not coffee. They're just looking for that taste.
Right. The wrong other two people's ways.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, like, oh, you messing with some people. Like, oh,
I
that's what
know,
they
I know. I'm sorry, guys, but I mean, that's why, like, when I meet, clients who deal with coffee, I always try to look for the alternative for people, right? So they don't feel like you're taking away and not giving them something back. So there are teas out there, like there's a brand called, there's some brands, I want to say specific brands, right? But there's some brands out there that actually have coffee like teas that's made using chicory, barley, roasted barley, and these give the same kind of taste as coffee, right? So that's a great alternative, right? And also with coffee, you don't want to, once one learn what coffee does, if you're drinking it every single day, it stimulates your adrenal glands, right? It can burn out your adrenal glands and keep you in this fight and flight mode all the time, and you don't want your body to be in that state. So when someone realizes that, then it will help them to basically make that change, because that's what I typically do to people. I try to educate them why should they make the change, and then also give them an alternative. So I'm sorry, I'm don't come for me the coffee, but we want to make some alternatives, some healthy alternatives. And if that coffee is something you really like, then maybe you want to switch it out to maybe like once a week, and then you do other teas for the rest of the week, or something like that.
So maybe the next best thing, and there's some who do coffee multiple cups throughout the day, so they're constantly in that state. At least less of it. And she's talked about alternatives as well, that you can use. But Doc, are there other foods, aside from the tea that you say is a good energy boost, or energy booster, for patients who are watching, or clients who are watching, who are like, well, if you take my coffee and I take something that tastes like it but doesn't give me the zing or the energy
uh
of the
Green
morning.
tea, green tea is very good. Green tea have its own caffeine, and it's filled with antioxidants. So when you think about the benefits of green tea, you want to drink that more. Also another way to stimulate your energy is exercise in the morning, really allocate some time to work out, because that can boost your energy, boost your mood and all that. So but then someone would say, okay, I'm busy, I don't have the time. But I think if we can make the time to do even just 15-20 minutes of exercise, that can boost our energy. And then you can go and have your green tea and other things like that. You also have these mushroom coffees out there, right? Mushroom coffee that can help with, because those are mushrooms. You have different mixed mushrooms that are great for the immune system, and also can help with stress and things like that. So it gives you that little boost of energy that you're looking for and focus.
Yeah, I also put like plant-based these in
Huh?
place. I put use my plant-based caffeine in there to my smoothie in the morning, so that helps me. I don't drink coffee. I don't like these coffees.
Yeah.
So we have options. We're not without hope. Now,
Right.
Doc, you mentioned like making the things, getting the fruits and vegetables. It sounds like a lot of work. So I have a busy mom who's watching. It was like a busy mom, busy wife, busy human who's watching. Who's like, yeah, schedule's so busy. I don't have time to the things. What is the simplest food fix women can try? Let's say like tomorrow, like you can implement right away. For the busy woman, busy schedule, who says, I don't really have time to meal prep consistent. What would you say to that?
Um, so usually I always recommend meal prepping, right? So basically take that one day that you have that's free. That's your rest day. That's the day you don't do anything, maybe house chores, run to the groceries, whatever. That would be the day that you use to plan out your meals. So also now they make it so easier now where you can go to the store and you can get bagged salads, right? Organic bagged salads. You just gotta wash it and pour it in your bowl and get your dressing and you're good to go, right? So those are little hacks that you can do, and also first if you're making smoothies, I'm a big smoothie promoter. I love to promote smoothies because it's like a whole meal in a cup, right? You can put like ingredients of what you need in a Ziploc bag and freeze them. Like your leafy greens, your berries, your chia seeds, your hemp seeds, your nuts, whatever, and put in the freezer. So all you got to do is grab it, put in your blender and go. Or you can get those to go cups that you can take to work, leave it on your desk, right? And you just pour that in there, get your liquid and pour in there, and that's it. You press the button and you're done. So those are some little things I tend to recommend, so they also have like oatmeal cups, these oatmeal cups that you can buy now that are organic, clean, and you just add your hot water, hot milk to it. Those are little ways that they can do if they really, really, really can't prep anything. You can actually go to like these large places like like a Costco or something and buy these things, or go online and buy these things at bulk and you have them with you.
I like that. I like the so you mentioned the meal prep. I don't think there's a negotiable meal prep. Either you have someone do it for you, if they can't do it, or do it in batches. That's what you're saying. You could freeze them, right? In big bulk
Mhm.
batches, grab and blend and do the thing. Soup is a good way. But when it comes to our health, it's an investment, but there are creative ways to do and still max our time. And
Mhm.
so the batch work, the meal prep, I usually recommend Dr. K for families to do together. So quality time on Sunday, put on, and then someone's slicing the cucumbers, someone's bagging the baby carrots, someone is, chopping whatever, doing different things. And you all do it together as a family and storing
Yes.
it. And, like, so it's like 3 in 1, you're making meals, quality time together, and, you're also having fun with things,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
definitely. I love that. Get the family involved. That's also how you get your children to eat healthy too. Because when they make they want to eat something that they made. So when you get them involved in the process of making self prepping things, and they're more inclined to eating it. You know.
right. Now let's talk about some of the symptoms that come with, perimenopause or menopause. Are there any herbs, teas, or spices that you would recommend, of course, in conjunction with conversations with your doctor, that can help with calming hormonal symptoms?
Well, some herbs. I mean, there's a ton of herbs out there that can help with hormone balance, but so herbs that I like is there's one called chaste berry, right? Also known as Vitex, chaste berry, also known as Vitex. That's really good for the irritability, menstrual irregularity, the mood balance. That's really good for like someone in perimenopause, or even if you're menstruating like consistently. Vitex is very good for that as well. Some other herbs or things like ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is an adaptogen. What it does, it helps the body to relax the stress, to help modulate stress. So adaptogen, ashwagandha is a really good herb as well to be incorporated. And macaroon is one of my favorites. Macaroon helps with hormone imbalances. So this is something you can drink as a.
Yes.
Huh? I'm not hearing you.
Can you hear me?
Okay, I'm hearing you now. Oh yeah.
So what's the other one? The how you spell that one? MACA?
MACA. Mm-hmm. Yes. MACA. That's one of my favorite. It's very good for hormone balancing. So that's something you can drink as a tea, or can get the powder and add to your smoothies. So macaroon is awesome, right? So that's really good for anyone in any phase, peri, meno, post, menopause. They can take it at any phase.
Now, with when it comes to natural food, here are a lot of herbs. Are there what general? And I know this is not something you can answer specifically to one client because everyone is unique. But are there certain things to watch out for when you're picking um, foods, or supplements or herbs like you mentioned? And then you have any pointers for those?
So like you said, it is a case by case scenario, because when you're picking out things like foods, you want to make sure they're organic. Like for instance, your berries are organic, your leafy greens are organic. When it comes to supplements now and herbs now, you want to make sure you get from a good source, right? Because you want to make sure they follow the guidelines of the general practice guidelines, where they're clean, they're checking for toxicity, they're processed really well. So there's certain companies that someone like you and I would use, that we would not go elsewhere out of that, because we know these companies are they know their standard, they're at a gold standard. So usually I would recommend, if someone wants to get like supplements or herbs, go to like your herbal store, your local herbal store, or your a vitamin store, or if someone like Dr. Tulu, she sells supplements, right? So you go to her, and I'm sure she'll have access to that. So, or someone like me. because you have some people where they do herbs, but it's not, it may have like different fillers in there that you don't want, that can create like a reaction. So I always recommend, know the source that you're getting your herbs from. And also too, it's important, where you are in your phase in your life, because some herbs is not, there's not one herb fits all, right? Ashwagandha may work for me, but it may not work for so it depends on where. So that's why it's so important that you sit down with your practitioner or your wellness consultant or whoever, your nutritionist, whoever you're working with, and they know everything that's going on, because a particular herb will be good for you versus someone else may not be, you know, that may be good with.
Yeah, and that's why I like that we also emphasize the whole foods, right? The supplements are important. I think so. Sure. But we got to learn how to use them, even the everyday that you have access to, how to
Hmm.
use it for you.
Hmm.
So thank you so much. These conversations, and of course, to have conversation with your doctor, your healthcare giver, to kind of see what's a good fit for you. Um, now, um, for someone who feel a woman who's watching who's like, well, they feel like their body is not the same way it used to be, and they feel frustrated. And they're watching this and they're like, okay, so are you saying that I just eat vegetables and I'll bounce back? What words of encouragement do you have for them this season as people start to, with season? I don't call it, age. We start getting more season in life. So how any words of encouragement for them when it comes to foods they can use, when it comes to lifestyle hacks that can help them even do this.
So for every woman, it's always important, because us as women, we carry a lot of, I don't want to say burden. We carry a lot, right? And it's so important that we take care of ourselves. So self care is so important. And when it comes to what you eat, that's a part of self care, balancing yourself, exercise, make time for exercise, make time for something. It could be just going for a massage, right? That's important. Can that help balance mood? That de stresses you. So when it comes to, being a woman and that aging woman, it's so important. Our diets are important. Diet is huge, right? What you eat is very important. Eating, so you want to stay in the categories of healthy fats, whole food, plant based. Even if you're not fully plant based, but at least make sure you're eating a lot of plants, nuts and seeds. High fiber. You want to keep that going. Also, the key thing, like one of the key vitamin I always recommend for everyone, no matter what stage you are in your life, vitamin D3. Vitamin D is so powerful for us. That helps with our hormones. Every organ in our body has a receptor for vitamin D. So no matter what stage you are in, vitamin D is very important for helping balance hormones. And especially for someone who already in menopause, vitamin D you definitely want to be on, because when you're in the menopausal state, right, you're at risk for osteoporosis, right? You lose bone density, right, as we get older. So vitamin D, calcium, magnesium, all those minerals are so important, and the prohormone vitamin D is very important for us to be making sure that we're consuming.
All right, awesome. And this is also an important point to make here. Seeing your healthcare giver there, make sure you're not deficient in micronutrients as well. I have this. So I'll be honest with you. I found people deficient in magnesium, vitamin D, folic acid, or drowsy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and reporting in energy, just general wellness, really a vitamin D level of sport.
Yes.
So
Yes.
important.
Vitamin D deficiency can actually cause fatigue and irritability, and that can be part of your mood swings, just vitamin D deficiency, you know. So
All right, Doc, we're wrapping up. This has been very good. If there's a woman listening today and she's only to remember one food tip from you, what would you say of all the ones you shared today? Which one should it be?
always do your best to stick to whole food, plant-based foods. That'll be my tip. Whole food, because you can't go wrong, because it's the category is so big. But when you think about whole foods in its whole state, plant-based, you want to stick to more of that, especially cruciferous vegetables and your healthy fats. So that's what I'd recommend is do go whole food, plant-based, and work on your gut health, because your gut is the foundation of your health. So you want to work on your gut health, and everything else will fall into place from there.
Go with whole foods. And I don't want you to, that's powerful. I don't want you to be overwhelmed. Like, oh man, she's trying to make you vegetarian. That's your
No,
goal for. But
right.
whole real foods added to your breakfast, to your lunch, and to your dinner.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly. Always find a
good.
way to always find a way to incorporate your vegetables, your fruits, your nuts, your seeds. Always look for every meal.
Every. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Cummings. For someone who's watching who's like, I like this doctor. I love how she talks about food and we she empowers us to eat our way to better health. Doc, where can we find
So I'm on Instagram mostly. I am on YouTube as well, but I'm not there a lot. But I'm mostly on Instagram. Has True Vine Wellness LLC. So that's where most can find me. And then once you can find me there, you can find me, on other platforms like Facebook, YouTube. So True Vine Wellness LLC.
Brand? Put that information at the bottom of the screen. You know, I do social media. I obviously have social media. I've got to use social media within reason. But if there's, you know, lead worthy content, hers is. Right. So these things that empower you, that make you will help encourage you to make better choices of spirit, soul, and body. So I put her Instagram link at the bottom. I also put her Facebook. It's True Vine Wellness. Also on YouTube. Thank you for making it easy. True Vine Wellness of all the things. But I appreciate you taking time to meet with me this Saturday morning. I know it is, but I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tulu, for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, my pleasure. Can we show her some love in the chat? Come on, Libra. Go ahead. Tell her thank you for joining and blessing us with her wisdom. CS Girl says, thank you. This is great information. Awesome. Make sure you share this with your friends. Empower women in your life. So interesting. But I they were like, I have 5 kids, busy. And I said, okay, let's make it simple. Give them fruits and vegetables, make it like, let's start there. Like, oh, it was like an epiphany. I'm like, yeah, yours, not your leftovers. Too. All right. So thank you all for watching. I celebrate you. Thank you for joining. Kate Abamba, appreciate you. Shannon Franklin Hightower, Virtual High 10, Chichi Weber, Lux, I appreciate you for joining. For those of you I can't be up there. Oh, and Regina Walker, thank you for joining as well. As always, if you or anyone you know is looking for an awesome, a thorough, and compassionate that will have conversations like this to help you live long and well, I am sure have it, please. Living your best life.